All right, so welcome back to the second session of our introduction to expository writing. So what we're going to be looking at right now are the pre-writing strategies. And I'm going to give you an activity a little later on. So I have the pre-writing process. When we're talking about the pre-writing strategy, before you actually write your essay, there are a few things that you must bear in mind, right? There are a few things that you must do to ensure that you are properly prepared and ready to put together a substantial and effective, a well-written essay, right? So first, you have to choose the topic, as we had mentioned in the previous video. We need to brainstorm, right? First, you need to go by the prompt. What kind of essay do I need to write? How do I need to structure this essay? After I have done that, I need to start thinking about the ideas. I need to start doing my reading. I need to ensure that I have enough information. I have to ensure that I'm informed in such a way that it will allow me to deliver my points in a way that it can be appreciated, right? So remember, we looked at all of that. Right, and these are the things that we would have accomplished by the end of our sentence, of our session. Tired, excuse me. All right, so a thesis statement is a sentence or sentences which summarize the main idea or ideas of your paper and clearly expresses what it is you are going to say about your topic. Your statement identifies what topic will be discussed and the purpose of your paper. The thesis statement covers exactly the topic you want to talk about, no more and no less. It lets your reader know what to expect. It usually appears in your paper's introductory paragraph. It helps you better organize and develop the content of your paper. The rest of your paper presents information you have gathered, organized, and developed to support your point of view, explanation, or analysis of the topic. So essentially, when we're doing our introduction, so this is where we usually place our thesis statement because we want to guide our reader. So you let them know, or these are the points that I am going to discuss. This is my stance, and these are the points that I'm going to use to further substantiate my perspective. All right. So it covers the topic you want to talk about, no more, no less. You're going to tell me what you're going to write about, right? You let the reader know what to expect. You place it in your introduction, and it allows you to organize. So if you say, I'm going to discuss point A, B, and C, when you're writing, it should be point A first, point B, and then point C, because that is how it was outlined in your thesis statement, right? And so you have laid a groundwork when you have outlined in your thesis statement where you're going to go. So that's essentially the purpose of the introductory paragraph. You tell me about whatever it is that you're going to discuss, the idea, the thought, the process. And then with your thesis statement, you tell me what you're going to focus on specifically, right? And your paper is essentially going to follow the lines or the path or the process or the steps that you would have outlined in your introductory paragraph. So, for example, if you see this particular piece, let me drink some water because I don't know what's going on with me. Give me a minute. I'm not even going to stop recording because I refuse to start it anymore. So, the life of the typical college student is characterized by time studying, attending class, and socializing with peers. If this is your thesis statement, what you should be writing about in your paper should be explaining to me how students spend their time studying. Where do they study? How long do they study? What methods do they use? If you're telling me about attending classes, you can tell me the time of the classes. You're going to tell me about them socializing in their peers, with their peers, and you're going to tell me this in separate paragraphs because you have outlined in your thesis statement that these are the points that you're going to discuss. So you have to dedicate time to develop each of the points that you have outlined. If you're writing your essay, I can't see a discussion of this, and this has not been included, or anything out of the three is missing. You have to discuss all three. And for you to develop all three, you have to dedicate time to giving each a paragraph or two so you can explain or bring across the point that you need to bring across. All right, so why do you even need a thesis statement? Outside of letting the writer know, outside of the writer letting the reader know where they are going to go with the essay, it allows you to test your ideas by distilling them into a sentence or two, meaning that when you write down the 3 points, you can say, well, you know, this would be better suited. This point would be better suited. Let me switch out this point and I don't know if you're hearing that background noise. So instead of stop, sorry about that. So it allows you to test your ideas by distilling them into a sentence or two, essentially meaning that when you write it down and you have your points, so you can say, you know what, I think there's another point that would work better than this particular point. Let me replace it with this one. Or you can say, you know what, there's another important point that I missed out. Let me add it to what I already have, right? And that allows you to better organize and develop your arguments, right? And then you have created a proper guide to understanding your arguments when you have done this. So in general, your thesis statement will accomplish these goals if you think of the thesis statement as the answer to the question your paper explores. So with your thesis statement, you're saying, all right, this is what I think. These are the points that are going to allow you to think what I think or understand what I think. And then that is the direction that your paper is going to go. All right, so tips for generating a thesis statement. Brainstorm the topic. So we start off with sugar consumption. And in your cases, you would have started off with topics like sleep, robotics, infertility, and what's the next thing again? Sleep, robotics, infertility. Is there something else? Can't remember it. All right. So you're going to narrow the topic. So when you have narrowed it down, this is what it's supposed to look like. Reducing sugar consumption by elementary school children. That is it narrowed down. So if you have your topic of sleep, you're going to now narrow it down to something specific, right, that you're able to discuss in a logical way. So you're going to take a position on the topic. After reflecting on the topic, then you decide what you really want to say about the topic, right? So then you have to start thinking, all right, what are the ways to reduce sugar consumption in young children, in school children? And then after you've done this, then you would be able to revise your thesis statement to say, all right, more attention should be paid to the food and beverage choices available to elementary school children. This is you developing your thesis statement. All right, so you decide on a topic or subject area. Then you do some preliminary research on the topic to obtain an overview of the relevant aspects of your subject area. This investigation will help you to narrow down what you want to write about and help you determine how you will approach your subject. So once you have decided what your topic will be and have done some research, consider what wording will clearly and accurately express the main idea or concepts you'll discuss in your paper. All right? So write your thesis as a statement, not a question. So as the name suggests, it's a thesis statement. So you wouldn't say to me, all right, I'm looking at reducing sugar consumption by elementary school children. We're not going to say, should more attention be paid to the food and beverage choices available? Because you're making a statement, because you're writing this. So even if it is a question that you're going to answer, with your thesis statement, you're saying this is the answer to the question, right? And this is why you have to do your research and organize your points in such a way that your answer can be received as a true answer, right? As a possible and viable solution to the problem at hand, right? So writers may sometimes change their purpose or views during the research and writing process. So again, when we were looking at the different types of exposition, we know, all right, we're going to choose based on the prompt, am I doing cause and effect, am I doing process analysis, right? What is the angle that I'm going to take? Do I need to use comparison and contrast? What would be best? So in an expository paper, you are explaining something to your audience. So from there, you're going to let me know what you're going to explain. Let me not narrow it down to me. You're going to let the reader know what you're going to explain to them. You're going to let me know the categories you're going to use to organize your explanation. You're going to let me know or let the reader know the order in which you'll be presenting your categories. And then you have to think, all right, have my introduction. So I've defined this problem. Okay, cool. Here's my thesis statement. These are the points that I'm going to discuss. Okay, great. As you do that, you have to start thinking, all right, what am I really trying to explain? Because this is where you're going to decide if the points that you have are substantial. This is where you're going to decide if the points that you have are strong enough to carry across the idea that you want, right? And how am I going to categorize it? And we looked at this earlier when we we're looking at how we structure, or is it by blocks? Is it point by point, right? And in what order should I present different parts of my explanation? So a thesis statement should never be an open-ended question, right? Don't leave it for the reader to figure out where you're going. Tell us where you are going, right? Because you're saying this may be an issue. You're saying, okay, this is the answer. This is the solution. There's a question, my essay is the answer to that, and I'm going to give you the points to substantiate that perspective. Be limited to mentioning only those points you plan to discuss in your essay. Never be so broad that it's difficult to discuss all relevant information, right? Ensure that you don't have conflicting ideas in your essay as well. And when I say never be so broad that it's difficult to discuss all relevant information, that is why it is good to narrow down your points. Narrow it down in such a way that you can clearly identify the points that you need to bring across or the points that you need to develop in the body of the essay, right? So that at the end you can have a comprehensive thought, right? So don't be so broad that there's too much to discuss so you can't dedicate a paragraph to it. You know, you have one extended or extensive paragraph on one angle, and then you barely have a paragraph to explain another perspective. You don't want to do that. You need to ensure that you can narrow it down where you can easily identify 2 to 4 points that you can use to bring across your idea, and focus on developing each of those points, and then you have a summary, right? So you restate your points at the end, and then you give a final word on what all of these details mean So I've said all of this. I've said point A, point B, point C, point D, because I'm trying to bring across the idea that I'm trying to highlight the idea that, right? So you have to make sure it's not too broad, because at the end, if you're discussing too many things, you're going to confuse your reader, and then that would have made your essay pointless, because whatever message you're trying to send, it cannot be received in the way that you intended because the person is confused. All right, so here are the activities that I'm going to have you go through, and we'll discuss them further. And so here are these thesis statements. The World's Fair in New Orleans was a disaster because of the way the press criticized the way it was run, but it was exciting for little children and had many good food booths. TV commercials are obnoxious to the person who is intent on watching a good show. On the other hand, they provide entertainment in the antics of the performers, and they provide a good opportunity to take a snack break. Another example, since politicians are constantly bombarding each other, how do they expect anyone to know who is right and who is wrong? Rap music is a popular form of art because it is creative and original, and because it follows the traditions of other spontaneously developed music like jazz. Another example, unless people are conscious of pollution, the world will be destroyed by the year 2050. The most important point to make here is that having a strong first sentence, which presents the main idea of your paragraph, is the topic sentence, right? So the most important point to make here is that of having a strong first sentence, which presents the main idea of your paragraph. This sentence is often called your topic sentence. So now we have left our introduction. Now we have left our thesis statement because we have done that. Now we have to start looking at the body now. And when you're writing your essay, each paragraph must have a topic sentence, which is considered or described as a strong first sentence, which presents the main idea of your paragraph. So every paragraph or each paragraph must have a topic sentence. So I can clearly see what this paragraph is going to discuss, right? And I can link it to the points outlined in the thesis statement, right? For example, the government's relaxed approach to immigration is storing up problems for the future. How far do you agree with this view? You can see one of the strongest arguments in favor of a relaxed approach to immigration is that the UK benefits economically from immigrant labor. Research shows that countries with high levels of immigration are economically successful, and that there is a correlation between a mobile labor force and economic prosperity. Immigration serves as an important source of both skilled and unskilled labor in the UK, which has come to depend on migrants to plug gaps in its skilled professions and to do jobs that the local population are unwilling to do. All right, so this is the topic sentence, this section that is bolded here, and you wouldn't bold it in your essay, but just for the purpose of presentation, I bolded it. But with this topic sentence, I will know that you're going to give me the arguments in favor of a relaxed approach to immigration, right? And then you're going to give me supporting information. So you have your topic sentence. This part of it is the supporting information. So after you have made your strong point, after you have given me your stance or you have made your stance, you're now going to give me information that supports it, that substantiates it, that proves it. All right. So this is a good topic sentence because It puts forward an argument. It uses some of the words from the title, which means that you're hopefully answering the question, right? It tells you what the rest of the sentence or the paragraph is going to be about. After this sentence, as I said before, you need to support what you have said. That means giving evidence which justifies what you said in your topic sentence. Often this is when you will bring in your sources from your wider reading. Another example paragraph with topic sentence would be online learning has its problems. This would be a good topic sentence because we already know where this is going, right? We already know where this is going. We're saying that online learning has problems, and then you're going to support it. Although student surveys always show students like to have access to materials online, the take-up of purely online courses is low. This would be a little different now because of the pandemic. When questioned, students find that studying online can be lonely and unsatisfying. Not only do students miss the human interaction with other students, they also find the time lag in getting answers to their questions very frustrating, right? So we're saying that, all right, online learning has its problems, and many students will shy away from online learning because of the feeling of isolation, right? They're not around their friends. They don't have a classroom vibe that they can feed off of. They don't have the different perspectives and the mood of the room and the vibe in the space. They don't have that, which is unfulfilling for them, right? So based on this is the supporting information. So from this information, you're able to see why online learning has its problems, right? So when you're making your topic sentence or when you're designing or writing your topic sentences, they must be short, they must be simple, they must be clear, and they must give a strong idea. So I must know exactly where I am headed when I see your topic sentence. So for example, I'm seeing here, online learning has its problems. From here, I would not expect to see a discussion of the advantages of online learning because we had a short sentence. Online learning has its problems. It is simple, right? And it is clear. And all you have to do now is support this information. All right, so usually when you're writing a topic sentence, this can be a guide. So you can say one of the main reasons for, one of the major factors in, generally speaking, one of the strongest arguments against or in favor of this thing is, one of the main advantages or disadvantage of this thing is. So these are examples of, a topic sentence. Right, so I want you to create some topic sentences for these topics here. The internet affects the way people communicate. So I want you to create a topic sentence for each and we'll discuss it later. The internet affects the way people communicate. Sports can teach self-discipline. Maintaining distant relationships requires commitment. Time management skills are beneficial to college students. All right? So I want you to, and you can pause the video, but I want you to create a sentence, a topic sentence for these topics. Now, supporting details. Supporting details are found in the body of the paragraph. I don't know why I only see my grammatical errors when I'm in PowerPoint mode. All right, it consists of facts such as statistical data, authoritative data, and scientific evidence, and as well as illustrations and examples. All right, so you have your topic sentence, yes, then you have your supporting details, and these are found in the body of the paragraph. And topic sentences can include statistic data. It can look at authoritative, and scientific evidence. And it can also include illustrations and examples, right? While your concluding statement or your concluding paragraph is the last sentence in the paragraph. It summarizes information that was written in the body of the paragraph, right? And I'm going to share this with you.